Okay, today I'm going to walk you through how to train for a sub 40-minute 10K. Whether it's your dream goal or something you're building towards or a stepping stone to something bigger in the marathon, this video breaks it down step by step, how to set the right benchmark, 3 key interval sessions and 3 key long runs that help me and a lot of runners I've worked with run their fastest 10K. I'm Grantham, a coach and professional ultra runner, and I used exactly this method to go from not being able to run for 400 meters without stopping to being able to run a kilometer in 4 minutes, then 3 kilometers, then 5 kilometers in 20 minutes, 10 kilometers in 40 minutes, all the way up to 100 kilometers at 4 minutes and 1 second per kilometer for the entire distance. So not only does this work, it will also improve all of your other times along the way. When we're trying to figure out how fast we're capable of running a marathon, we often look at the equivalent time for 5K. But how fast can you run a kilometer, a single kilometer? And what about if we can turn that pace into your marathon pace? That's essentially what I did for the 100K. So if you're looking to go way faster and train in a more smart, methodical way, then get in contact by booking a call in the link in the description. Now I'm going to give you 3 interval sessions and 3 specific long runs to help you hit that 40 minutes for 10K. But before I do that, here are 2 steps that you should follow that will help you execute these 6 sessions more efficiently and more effectively to help you get to that 40-minute 10K as quickly as we can and as safely as we can. Step 1, set your benchmark. You need to know exactly where you're at right now so that you can approach these sessions at the right effort levels and the right paces. And to do that, a great way to get that line in the sand is to do a 3 kilometer all out time trial. So what that would look like is on interval day, on fast running day, we're gonna warm up properly. So you're gonna walk initially, light jog, gradually accelerate after some dynamic stretching, and get to a point where you're doing 2 times 2 minutes at the pace that you think you can hold for the entire 3 kilometers. What that's gonna do for you is help you maintain and sustain that pace throughout the 3 kilometers. It's still like all of your running, whether you're running 3K, 5K or marathon, it's still about being in control. So be in control, but push and let it be an all-out effort so that we get a good reading from that data. And if you run 12 minutes flat, then fantastic. 4 minutes per kilometer or 6:26 per mile. That's something that we can build upon. And then you can approach these sessions knowing exactly what paces you can hold and also what effort you can sustain. Step 2, and this is the most important part. You're going to embark upon a journey here to become the fastest possible runner you can. Not just in 10K. What we're trying to build is a great runner overall, which will become a great half marathon runner and a great marathon runner. In order to do that and become good at anything, we've got to have that discipline and that work ethic hardwired. It's happening, and so it's a priority in the day because you're looking at the bigger picture. There are hundreds of excuses that you can have that come up during the day in order for you not to run. Don't use any of them. Show up consistently, trust in the process and get it done. Now, let's get onto the sessions. Session number 1, 12 times 500 meters with 60 seconds rest in between. And we're running those at that time trial pace, at that 3K pace, which will soon become our 5K pace and soon become our 10K pace. But what that's doing is giving you 6 kilometers of volume broken up nicely into 12 reps, and you've got a minute rest in between, but we're gradually and in a manageable way, we're increasing the volume at which you can hold that top end pace. And that's gonna feed into the rest of your running. It's gonna improve your running economy. It's gonna improve your leg turnover. It's increasing your lactate tolerance. It's doing great things for the rest of your running. Session 2. We've got to become incredibly comfortable at moving over the ground at 4 minutes per kilometer or 6:26 per mile to be able to run that 10K in sub 40 minutes. And this session is a staple for that. And it's a staple no matter what distance you're training for. We're going to do 6 times 1 kilometer with 60 seconds rest in between. So exactly the same volume as the previous 12 times 500 meters, but broken up less. And so you'll find that you won't be able to hold that 3K pace typically past rep 4 and 5. And again, we want the whole session, the whole training to be under our control, to be manageable so that we're stretching that elastic band, but not too far so that it snaps, just far enough so that we can stretch it further next time. So if you're running these at intended goal pace, 4 minutes per kilometer or 6:26 per mile, that's a great session. 6 times a kilometer at intended 10K pace, it's a great session. Session 3, slightly harder session, but we've only got 3 reps. We're gonna do longer intervals, so 3 times 8 minutes with just 60 seconds rest in between. Now again, if you can hold 4 minutes per kilometer or 6:26 per mile for the 3 times 8 minutes, you're in a really good position to be able to tackle that 10K so long as the rest of the training is in place. If that pace initially needs to be 10 to 15 seconds slower per kilometer, then that's where you're at the moment. And again, it's about controlling the entire interval session. So whether it's a 500 meter rep, a kilometer rep, or an 8-minute rep, it's about controlling the session so that we're looking at the first and last rep or the fastest and the slowest rep, and there's not so much difference in between because it's all manageable for us. We're in control. So if initially you're doing that at 4:15 per kilometer or 6:52 per mile, again, it's a wonderful session. Now we're getting on to the long runs, the specific long runs. So session 4, 12 kilometers fartlek, so alternating the pace. All we're gonna do is 1 kilometer at 10K intended pace, so ideally 4 minutes per kilometer or 6:26 per mile, and then 1 kilometer 20% slower, so 4:48 per kilometer or 7:44 per mile. And what you'll feel there is that change up and down in gears is gonna burn through glycogen quicker, so it's gonna feel like it's more effort, but it's getting you used to a bigger volume, 12 kilometers of volume, with a nice 6 kilometers of effort at exactly the intended pace. Start where you are right now and let the pace come to you. What I mean by that, if that initial time trial was an all-out effort, your heart rate was 205 beats when you finished, you strive to go as fast as you possibly can, probably wasn't a great test. If we're in control of that and we're feeling like, okay, we're finishing that 3rd kilometer in the same time as the 1st kilometer, and we could do a little bit more if pushed, it's all under our control, then that was a good indicator of what we can then soon hold with training for 5K and later for 10K. If we're over striving on sessions like this, what it's gonna do is instead of building our confidence, which is exactly what we're trying to do as long with building fitness, it's gonna knock our confidence. So what the run might look like is you'll set off quick and then you'll fade maybe after the 4th or 5th rep, and it'll be difficult for you to finish the session. And then you'll be wondering, how am I gonna hold this for the entire 10K if I can't even do 6 kilometers at that pace with inside a slower run? Playing with pace like that inside a run will make the time pass really quickly, and it's really fun to do. And it's gonna simulate not just the race itself, but also your ability to recover very quickly while still moving forward and then go again. And that's exactly a skill that you need for the 10K and the 5K. Long run 2. All we're gonna do is a progressive 12 kilometers. And we're gonna split it up into 4 kilometers, 4 kilometers, and 4 kilometers. And you can finish with that 4-minute pace, that intended 10K pace, but we can start slower than that. So we can start at 4:30 per kilometer for the first 4 kilometers, middle 4 kilometers at 4:15 per kilometer, and then finish that faster finish so that we can finish faster in the race, ideally negative split. So it's learning how to do that, but we're finishing strong. And that's building a lot of confidence that we can actually hold that for the entire distance of 10K, because all of that pace throughout the progressive long run was all relative to the pace that we want to hold for the entire 10K. Now you can make that run as hard or as easy as you want. Imagine the extreme. You could start at 6-minute pace for those first 4 kilometers, move on to 5-minute pace for the middle 4 kilometers, and then try to get towards intended 10K pace for the final 4 kilometers, and that would be an easier run. We can also make it harder. You could start at 4:15 per kilometer, first 4 kilometers, middle 4 kilometers at 4 minutes per kilometer, so intended 10K pace, and then the final 4 kilometers faster. And let's say that's 3:45 per kilometer. That probably indicates that you're capable of running faster than 40 minutes for 10K. And what we're doing here, if you think about it, is we're hitting that interval session midweek on a Wednesday. And then this specific long run on the Sunday, we're getting another session where we're getting lots of improvement specific to our goal. And so 2 times during the week, we're moving forward from where we are right now towards our intended goal pace. Long run 3, 16 kilometers or 10 miles. All we're gonna do is the middle 8 kilometers or 5 miles at 4:24 per kilometer, which is exactly 10% slower than our intended 10K pace, or 7:05 per mile. So what the run looks like is 4 kilometers easy, nice and easy, conversational in zone 2. And I'd be getting to the 2.5 to 3 kilometer mark and gradually accelerating. So that initial kilometer is not a shock to the system in that specific block of 8 kilometers. And then for the entirety of that 8 kilometers or 5-mile block, we're running at exactly 10% slower than our intended 10K pace. So it's a long sustained effort at just 10% slower. So very relative to the race pace that we wanted to hit. And it's within a 16-kilometer long run, which makes it even more difficult. And then after we finish that 8-kilometer segment, gradually bring the heart rate back down, the effort back down, the pace back down, 4 kilometers in zone 2. But initially, just let the heart rate glide back in that first 1 to 2 kilometers. So you're gradually bringing the heart rate down and finishing the run. So it's a big chunk of work relative to the pace that we want to hit for the entire 10K. And you're on fatigued legs, you're on trained legs. Once we let the legs freshen up, then it's going to be much easier for you to sustain that 4-minute pace or that target race pace for the entire duration of the 10K. So there you have it. There's 6 specific sessions. And if you were just to repeat those sessions over and over and over again, you would move nicely towards that goal of 4 minutes. But listen to your body. Pay attention to how these paces feel. If you're going out there and you're doing 6 times a kilometer and you're striving to hit pace in that 5th and 6th kilometer, don't be afraid to bring the pace and the effort down a little bit so that you can execute that session and know what you need to improve on for next time. Maybe you need to go out a little bit slower and gradually let that pace come to you. And equally, if this goal pace of 4 minutes or 6:26 per mile is feeling easy, it might be an indication that you're capable of running faster than 40 minutes for 10K. That goal, especially with a specific 13-week block, that goal is always a moving target. We want to milk as much as we possibly can out of you. I'll put 2 more videos with relevant sessions on the screen, but if you're really serious about your running and you want to move forward and take big leaps, 5, 10, 15% forward in your running game, whether you're training for a 10K, a marathon or longer, then please get in contact and book a call in the link in the description and let's see if we're a coaching match.